All right, let's see. I think I flipped it. I think I did it right this time.
It's on. Yeah.
It's on. Sweet. I'm here. We are live. We are finally live with the Ellis Highlight Reel Limitless Basketball, Limitless Range Basketball Podcast, Ellis Highlight Reel. I am your host, Brandon Ellis, as always. I got my boys that I've been doing this podcast with over the last few weeks. Shane Foley and Jacob Perrine from Total Apex Sports. Say what's up, fellas.
What up?
What's up? I'm excited to get this started.
Yeah, man. It's going to be a fun show. As always, we're going to start with DFS picks from Shane. So go ahead. Let's get started with that.
All right, so things for tonight. First of all, I've been doing some research in terms of value picks because is only $3,000 tonight. Now, you might be thinking, oh, that's a steal. You know, 6th player of the year, underpriced. But he's only played top 16 minutes in either of the two games that we played so far. I think he is losing minutes to Dylan Harper hard because Harper's been playing really good, and so Mitch Johnson has to adjust. Therefore, I think that is a bit of a red herring. I would probably fade Johnson until his minutes go up. If you're looking at a value, he's 4,400, but I think Landry Shamet is still the way to go. He's really taking. I mean, really call him a 6th. Robinson is so heavily in the rotation, but you can call him a 7th man for sure. And he's a big fill. We saw the last game of the minutes. Obviously, Josh Hart getting that a bit, but he's been really consistent from 3, and he's being used in different ways. He's not just a spot-up shooter like he usually is. He got some couple layups, last game, being more involved in the offense, action-wise. That's all good. So I would probably say Landry Shamet at 4,400 is the cheapest guy that you can get and have valuable, guaranteed value out of. That's really the only guy. Now the other thing that's going to be really big, and a lot of people are going to think I'm crazy, but I'm fading Karl Anthony Towns tonight for this reason. At some point, player of the year is going to have to show on the biggest screen why he's the defensive player of the year. If Wemby can't guard Cat on an island, it messes up their entire defensive set because you can't leave any of the shooters open. Showed you that. Don't leave Josh Hart wide open. There's no leaving Mikal Bridges wide open. None of that. So I think that one of these games, Victor is going to play really aggressive defense on Cat. I think it comes this game. I thought it came game 1 and game 2, but obviously if you started Cat in either of those weeks, you did well. So I still think that Victor is the pay up that you want. Yeah. And so basically if I'm building a line, I built a couple lineups tonight, but if I were building another lineup, I would look at Landry Shamet as my value play. I'm paying up for Victor. He is too expensive to make your captain. So my captain, probably looking at, like a Stephon Castle guy. I had a lineup where I put Josh Hart as my captain because I think he's going to get extra minutes, and he's going to play in a way that he doesn't get as many fouls because they don't want him gone off the court for that long again. And then another interesting thing too is that Champagnie and Devin Vassell, 2 players that a lot of people are going to be looking at because they're more on the value side, lower cost. So Champagnie is 6,200 and Vassell is just a flat 6,000. But Vasal's been statistically better.
Yeah.
Consistently, like throughout the playoffs and then in the series.
Except for game one.
Except for
I
game
wouldn't
one,
say
yeah,
Vassell, but he was better in game two.
It seems to me like Champagny gets like he'll get on an early streak of points, and then yeah, exactly. Vassell was getting more valuable minutes throughout the game, so like I feel like he's the guy I'd rather have, and even the projections, he's projected to go 4.5x, and Champagny is valued at 3.7x. So if you believe projections and that's all you can do, then the projections are telling you get Vassell at a $200 discount.
Yeah.
So I would look at a play like that. Josh Hart's probably getting a rebound game, and I believe Wemby will be the pay up. And look, if I'm wrong tonight and Cat gets a double and goes 25 and 12, then I'm wrong.
Yeah.
And congratulations to the Knicks because you're going to sweep the Spurs. If that happens, then forget it. So there's my take on it.
Yeah. No, I like your picks. I think me and Jacob both are like your picks. I do want to caution the fade on Towns because the way Towns has been playing this series, as we'll get into in a little bit, I didn't see coming. And I know your point of Wemby's going to figure him out, but at the same time, it's one of those things with Wembanyama. He hasn't
Wemby hasn't figured it out on offense yet either. So
no, he hasn't figured it out on offense.
That's why for Cat, it'd be the much safer option, honestly, in my opinion. That would be the only deriding thing I would say. Like I wouldn't do Wemby, I would definitely do Cat.
And also with that too, Wemby has had a hard time with guys who can put the ball on the floor per se consistently and drive. Center, Cat, and Embiid. Jokic is
don't forget Cat's playmaking too. That adds a different element to his offensive game, so that adds a little bit more points in your favor.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, you don't actually add because of what you guys are saying. If you're in, so there's a difference between tournament play and like cash money play. In cash money play is like 50-50s and double ups. You're fine with just putting just a generally good because you only have to beat half of the pool. So you probably want to play Cat, betting on him to play up to where he's been playing throughout the series.
Yeah,
because you just need his 40 whatever points and you'll win. In a GPP, it might be better to go Victor because a lot of the pool is going to fade Victor for Towns, and you can't afford both of them unless you want to field like Luke Cornett and like Deuce McBride is the rest of your squad. So, I would say Karl Anthony Towns is still a fine play for like your cash money. For GPP, you're just betting that Victor is going to have a hat. I don't think he's going to go.
Yeah. Well, if you want overall better value on offense, Cat would be the way to go. But for Victor, I think Victor would have more points. It's just Towns would equal that out with the assists.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
That would be where like the differences lie in terms of like how you approach those two different things.
Yeah. All right, let's get into this series so far. Let's get into games 1 and 2. And everything like that. What happened in San Antonio? Y'all want to start with game 1 or y'all want to start with the Wemby turnover in game 2?
I guess we can start with game 1 and then game 2 we'll kind of go because game 1 and 2 are very similar in how
they're similar games. Spurs had a lead for a while in the first half in both games. The game 2, the Knicks kind of took the lead in the half, but the game 1, the Spurs had the lead at half, and then fourth quarter was Brunson in game 1 to win by 10, and then game 2. Was Brunson hitting the missing the jumper, Wemby getting the rebound, turning it over with the Steph Castle not looking back for the ball. Yeah. So you can blame it on Victor, you can blame it on Steph Castle. It's just the youth getting into a moment. Victor fouls Brunson, Edison makes 1-2, and then Victor now misses the game winner. The would have been game winner. for 105-104 Knicks victory. For the Knicks could be up 2-0. And I like y'all's approach. Like I like the approach Jacob said here to go with game one, because game one is the one that set the tone of what this series has been, and it's been the Knicks making the adjustments in the second half to get the fourth quarter clutch moments in their favor, and they've made them. And it's all the old adage: the role players play better at home. The Knicks role players still play pretty well on the road, and it's crazy. Like Shaman has had a great final so far. Obviously, we talked about Karl Anthony Towns' final so far. He's been the best player of the series. I think he's been the best player up from top down. It hasn't been Brunson. It hasn't been Victor. It's been Cat.
Well, Brunson's not shooting well, but he's closing very well. But
he's
that's
closing
the main difference. Cat Towns is more consistent in terms of his impact.
Yeah. So, Jacob, I'll go with you on this. Do you think it was youthful Spurs or the Knicks continue what they've been doing in these last 13 games?
I think it's a combination of both, in my honest opinion, just because when you look at the way game two ended, it was more so a youthful collapse than the Knicks really, taking that. Because you saw in that entire fourth quarter, the Spurs, they were able to make the adjustments on defense and able to get out and run, and they were able to come back and, take a lead with, a minute left. So it was more so youthful and then also youth, not in terms of what happened out on the court, but also what didn't happen out on the court and adjustments from, Mitch Johnson. He's still a rookie head coach. You got to remember that too.
Yeah.
So it made no sense for him in that last minute, especially on that last possession where Dylan Harper was red hot in that entire second half. And then, even though I love Wemby, I guess, sure, give him the ball for the game winner. He's your best player. I can understand that sort of thing. But the way it was going that game, you had to give the rookie a shot at least to win it, because the way it was going, I just don't understand the mindset of not setting that play up for Harper. And then the first game, and then going back to the first game, it was more so the Knicks they've been what they've been for the past month and a half, and they've just been an awesome offensive team that just like when the fourth quarter comes around, they just win. And what did I say for the preview for this series a couple weeks ago? I said this series is going to come down to the Knicks could get a couple games if it's close in the fourth. And what happened in these first two games? It was close in the fourth because they have the best closer in the game. So, and the problem for the Spurs now is you're going on the road. Madison Square Garden is going to be rocking. It's very the hill. It's like Mount Everest. You got to climb to get back into.
We'll get into game three. With a certain somebody going to the game already causing chaos with the fans and everything like that. A certain somebody that is at first acting somebody that shouldn't be at an NBA Finals game just because he should be doing other things than going to the finals. But I get the publicity of it. But anyway, we'll talk about that here in a little bit. I do agree with those fronts and everything like that. Both of those fronts on both the games, because game one was the one that was like, okay, Knicks are being the Knicks of the last few rounds in the last month. I think game two was like you said, the Spurs got back in it, and I really thought the Spurs were going to win that game once they got back in it and had control. And then when Wemby makes the mistake late and not calling the timeout and throwing the ball forward to a guy that's not paying attention. I would have called time. That's the thing. A poised team with experience in that situation gets the rebound, calls timeout, sets up something.
I can understand them not calling a timeout in that moment, but in that case, I think Castle was expecting a timeout instead of them running up the floor, because Johnson didn't really say anything. He didn't call timeout. He didn't really tell him to do anything. He kind of just stood there. Kind of hesitated for a moment. I think Wemby was just like, okay, he's not saying anything. I'll just go. And it was just a complete no.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. If Johnson says no on the sideline and you're Victor Wembanyama, and can dribble, sometimes we see Wemby bring the ball up the court. That would be the time to bring the ball up the court yourself and not force the outlet pass. It might hump.
Yeah.
Just
so like whatever you do.
Yeah,
but like whatever you do, what like in that moment, Wembanyama has a couple options, but like when the thing about calling timeout is you move the ball up the court and then you make a game plan, which is that's more the reason why I'm angry about that play is because like it just gets rid of that miscommunication from ever happening.
Yes.
And
well, it also allowed it. Well, if they call a timeout, it also allows the Knicks to set their defense.
Well, true. That
and
is
you
the
can
one
attack
thing.
More in transition.
That is the one debate about calling the timeout situation analytically. It sets the defense up, and it gets a chance for the. But that's the saying, too, with that and the trades. But a lot of the times, these don't call timeout plays where they don't call timeout. They don't work because the team's so unorganized of what they're doing.
Yeah.
The team that doesn't call the timeout and lets the play go. It normally is like a quick shot from the player that brings the ball up or a quick like something crazy like that where it don't work.
Yeah.
And granted, this one was like more time on the clock, and they did have the chance to win at the end, which goes back to Jacob's point about giving Harper the opportunity.
Yeah.
I would have gave Harper the opportunity or have Wemby when they did with Fox going to pick and roll instead of Wemby popping. I would have had Wemby rolling to the rim because that Knicks couldn't stop him rolling to the rim most of the fourth.
Here's my idea for the setup. Here's my idea for a setup for a Harper play there at the end. So you have Wemby he comes above the free throw line at the top.
Yeah.
You have Harper inbound the ball. You give it to Wemby on the top of the key. He does a little handoff action, does a little pick and roll action to where Harper can come around the corner and go a little bit, start driving down towards the paint a little bit. And now you have options on both ends because now you have your shooters out on the floor, like Champagny and Vassell in the corners. So that way, if they come off and help, he can swing it or he can finish it if they're too late. I would have set up a play similar to that for Harper. I can understand Wemby. Now, the Wemby one, I understand, like, if you wanted to do a set Wemby play, do a pick and roll so he can get closer to the basket, get towards the paint, because I don't think settling for a shot over Mitchell Robinson is going to work, even though, look, Wemby can shoot over anybody, but I think it'd be a lot harder to shoot over Robinson because, Robinson's 7'1". He's got a long reach, too.
Yeah, here's the thing, too. That was a great contest by Mitchell Robinson on the attempt from Wembanyama again, too. That is an underrated aspect that people don't discuss about that play in particular because when they just look at the result of Wemby missing. But at the same time, Mitchell Robinson has to be composed in that moment to not foul because if he fouls, the likelihood of Wemby making both is high. He has been shaky in the finals from the line this series so far, which is part of the struggles that we haven't really Victor. Like that is part of his struggles is him missing at the free throw line, which is uncharacteristic for Wembanyama. But I think he makes both in that situation. So if Mitchell Robinson fouls, hits him on the arm, gets in the landing space, those kind of calls, the refs could call in that situation. The Knicks, we're tied 1-1 heading into tonight.
Well, he contested to make the shot tougher, not block the shot. I think that was the key for him because look, you're not going to block the shot, just contest and make sure you
contest, get in the airspace enough to make a contest. All right, go ahead, Jay. I know you wanted to
get at the same time. So like, you're right, but I'm actually glad you brought up fouls because the way Wemby, we're talking about before they had the mishap with the Castle, right?
No, this was Wemby's game winner opportunity after Brunson.
This was the game winning opportunity where it was the last shot.
Remember, the play before he had an opportunity and Robinson was on him. And what did Wemby do? He stood at the 3-point line and he stared him down for 8 and then shot a brick. Yeah. That play worked. Yeah. If it's Kobe Bryant, it works if you're Michael Jordan. It works if you're LeBron. But and general thesis for I want him closer to the paint. You know what I'm saying? Just to be able to,
Yeah.
so like in terms of like Mitchell Robinson, while yes, he does have to be very careful that he doesn't touch Wemby on both of those shots. I feel like you get the fouls if you're Wemby and you're at the paint. When he starts getting into action on the low block and he starts to, and you don't know where he's gonna shimmy left or right, like that's when defenders start to get antsy and they start to put the hand up there, and you can't be open shots at the block. So if him at the three, it's kind of like it's more of an easy defend. Like you just put your hand out there, don't make contacts, and while I applaud Robinson for doing all those things, it just feels like in general, game one, game two, like Wembanyama's like spotting up and shooting a lot, and he's not getting to the paint like he usually does.
Yeah,
I know
he's settling for shots instead of using a 7'4" frame to get into the paint, and that's why when you see a lot of these pick and rolls that they run with Wemby, he just stays on the perimeter. He doesn't try and dive towards the basket all the time.
Yeah,
and I just think that's such a mistake because here's the thing: what I took away from the first two games, the adjustment that Wemby needs to make. He needs to play more like Karl Anthony Towns. The instant you see a mismatch, you attack it. The instant they switch Josh Hart onto you, get into the paint. Because every time on the other end, Castle or Fox would end up on Towns, Towns is backing them down. He's getting right into the paint and like asking, give me the ball right now. And it works for them. And it just it has to you have to scramble more as a defense. I just think him settling more is not allowing the Spurs, especially the guards and Fox and Castle, to really, open up the paint more for them because it's too congested. Because, well, I'll just come off of Victor. He's not shooting well. I'll just come off, have somebody rotate over, and then there you go. It ends right there.
Yep, agree with that. I think we covered both games 1 and 2 ad nauseum. I think we can talk about Brunson a little bit before we get into game 3. I think his shooting, I think that gets fixed maybe, but I think that is a combination of his struggles shot selection wise and having Stephon Castle to deal with on the other guarding him. I think that's and Vassell and the options to the Spurs, like the guards.
Well, just the overall physical play, their perimeter players, especially Castle and Vassell, have just thrown him off.
It's throwing them off. I think the game 3. That's why I wanted to touch on Brunson leading into the preview because I think tonight Brunson is going to have one of those games where he is big body Brunson and takes it over. Kind of a deal for them to get the win because here's a couple factors that we have to look into, like outside factors. This is the first game in MSG, finals game in MSG since 1999. So the emotions are going to be high.
Yeah.
Then the other factor, the president is in the building.
Yeah.
He's in the building and it's already caused ruckus. They closed off they closed the streets to the to the arena because of Secret Service and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So it's kind of messed up the dynamic. They already canceled the watch parties outside the arena. They canceled those because the president, they have to protect the president.
Yeah, they have to do a full perimeter sweep and all that stuff, so you can't have all those people in there.
Yeah, and which takes away from the atmosphere that it would have been.
Yeah,
even more so. I think it contains it inside. Now, granted, Trump is in a suite. He's not on the sideline. He's not courtside. I think he's watching it from a suite. My thing with Donald Trump being there, yes, I like having presidents there.
Yeah.
But when this country's in the shape that it's in right now, in my humble opinion, I mean, it's not great timing for the president to be there. Granted, it's good for him to wanting to do this and show up because he's had issues.
Look, he's a New Yorker, so he wanted to be there. I understand that, but I agree with you on the same thing. Like, I don't think this is the time for it right now.
No, I don't think it's the time for it. But at the same time, he's going to do what he wants to do.
Yeah.
He's the president. I'm not mad. I'm not going to poo-poo it. I know I don't agree with him politically, obviously, when I say that. I don't agree with him politically. It's obvious. It's fine. At the same time, you just got common sense. That's my thoughts on the Donald Trump stuff, and everything like that. And I think I don't think he's going to cause that much of a distraction other than the first 5-10 minutes of the game.
Well, look, it's going to be a distraction, like you said, for those 5-6 minutes. Obviously, creating a lot of stress. Like you can't do the watch parties, and the streets are closed off, so it's just creating a lot of stress around that area. But other than that, I don't think it'll affect the game itself.
No,
really.
It's not going to affect the game. I think the only thing that Donald Trump's going to affect is pregame, because they'll show him pregame.
Yeah,
they'll show him in the arena, like on the jumbotron. They'll show him. They'll get the attention, and either the New York crowd's going to boo him because it is a liberal city still. Or some portion's going to get cheers. We'll see what happens here in about 8:30 Eastern time with that. And that is all I'm going to say about the president and him attending the game. It's like I said, it's gonna cause ruckus. It's already has caused ruckus. Like the players had to get scanned by
Secret well, you had to show up 2 hours before the game to get in. Otherwise, you're not getting in. So that creates a whole different problem too.
And then Shams got stopped by when he was doing a spot. He lost his AirPod. I think he
lost his AirPod.
So I mean that. So it's already caused ruckus for everybody involved. That is, but we can talk about the Stephen A side of it too, where that's caused some scenes. But I'm not going to go into that.
I don't think we've already chewed too much on the bone for that. I think.
Let's get back to the
basketball aspect of it.
Let's get into the game. Let's get into the game, Shane. Your key matchup for Game 3 is
I'm going to take it's Cat versus Victor Wembanyama. First of all, so if you are Mitch Johnson and you make a game plan thinking that okay, so Cat's been like the highest scorer for the past few close to the highest score. I think Brunson got
Brunson has him on point, but Cat's got him right behind, but he's better efficiency.
So if you say we have to get the ball out of Cat's hands, that means you're going to have to send multiple guys at him if Victor can't do it alone. Now, maybe it's smart in some instances, like if Cat's on the low block, that you send another guy to at least. But if you have a guy abandon your man to double Cat, messed up. It is such a bad. I was going to be like, who's open? Is it Shannon? Is it Brunson? Is it Bridges? Who's getting a 3 right now? Like it'll just be disastrous. Jacob made a good point that like when Cat is on a smaller defender, he immediately attacks the block. That's something where if you're gonna switch on defense, I think you have to send Wemby to wherever he is. Right. So second Cat is backing down Dylan Harper or backing down Castle, whoever. Victor Webb, you gotta go to the paint, and you have to be ready to like at least be able to contest, affect the play somewhat. But in terms of just like straight up defending him, part of the reason why I picked the Spurs in 7 was that I thought Victor was going to be able to play one-on-one defense with Cat and hold him to below 20. Something like that. And then, so on the other side of it, offensively, he has to. I mean, there've been the thing about him being a spot up shooter and why there's been instances where he hasn't been that, and it's been successful. I know that Carl Anthony has he has built on him. Victor's skinny. But I mean, even in the end of Game 2, there was that play where they passed to Wemby, rolling on he's coming down the lane and he does like one of those like where he's about to jam it and then does that and gets a layup and he got an and one. And I saw that play. Cat was one of the people who was coming at him, and Victor just said no. Like he didn't care who was in front of him. And I feel like he's got to play more like that. It doesn't mean you have to dump the ball to him and he's got to make like some Wilt Chamberlain play every play because that's
he doesn't have to be Hakeem Olajuwon on the post. Yeah,
exactly. Right. Like don't do that. But like what I'm saying is like attack him. The other reason why you attack him is because when you're getting in the low block and you're attracting other defenders and you're forcing Cat to play lower in the paint to protect the rim, that's also where you start getting open threes. So that's where I'm seeing, as it is matchup-wise, with Victor is that I have no problem with him shooting an open jump shot. He is a good jump shooter. But I want to see open threes after action on the play. I don't want to see him grab the ball, square up like he's Ray Allen, let the clock go by, and then do that. Because even if
or in like game one, attempt 9 threes. Like I feel like Wemby's more like a 6-3. Like 6 threes is good for him. You know what I mean? Especially if they're really open in rhythm threes. The threes he's been taking have just been like, why are you doing that? Why are you doing like a Carmelo Anthony isolation, jab step, pull up, or back or a step back? Like it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work on Robinson, man. He's too big for that. Like it didn't work against Gobert either. And then Wemby made that adjustment where he's like, I'm gonna get more in the paint, and look what happened in that series. So I agree.
And also, last thing I'll say about this. The Knicks are out rebounding the Spurs in general throughout the series. The Knicks should not be out rebounding the Spurs. It should not happen. Part of the reason why it's happening is Victor's playing in the perimeter. So when he shoots it up and he shoots 9, he say he makes 2. Well, guess what? That means he missed 7. What's going to happen to those 7 balls? Bounce out right there. Josh Hart's right there. So it's got to be that. It's the big one.
Here's kind of like my couple of adjustments here, and I agree on the offensive one with you, where it's just like Wemby just needs to stop settling for shots. I think the key for the Spurs is definitely going to be on defense in terms of their adjustments. I think first of all, you got to have better defensive communication. Game 2, the Knicks were up by like 12, 13. They were in control most of the second half because the defense for the Spurs, they were not connected. They were not communicating like, hey, we're doing this. You're like, where's your man? Like, it was just like scrambling defense instead of like set, communicative, deliberate defense. And then on the other end, I just think the other adjustment is I don't understand why you're taking Wemby and putting him on Hart instead of like when they would do set defensive plays, Wemby would be matched up with like OG or somebody else. I'm just like, and Cat's out there. Like, why are you taking him off a Cat? You're just telling the Knicks, hey, go at whoever's putting him, like Vassell, Champagny. Like it doesn't matter. Like those guys are good defenders, but they can't guard Cat. But and they would just switch off him. And that also kind of plays into what Shane also said about the rebounding advantages. If you got a mismatch and the ball gets swung out around to somebody else, but Castle's having to box out Cat, it's not going to work. So that's why you keep Wemby on him the entire game. Don't switch. Like if you have to switch, like on a ball screen, that's fine. But don't come out into a set defense and be like, we're going to have Wemby matched up with Hart. No, don't do that. Just keep it the same. Have everybody matched up with who they're matched up with. Except for Castle, maybe switch Castle on to Brunson. Keep him on Brunson because he's been doing an excellent job. But
real quick, piggybacking off that, I 100% agree with you about putting Victor on Cat and not on Hart. I think the reasoning is that maybe Victor can't defend Cat as well, but like if you're saying he might have trouble defending Cat, why would you put Champagny on him where Cat's like cookies 3 months, you know what I mean?
Well, look, you'd rather have size and length on him than anything. Look, if Cat beats Wemby, he beats Wemby. That's the end of the day. Like if he beats him in the defensive matchup, it is what it is. But like don't give them an advantage just because you're worried that he's going to beat Wemby. If Cat's going to beat him, let him beat him. Let him earn that.
Yeah, Victor gives you the best shot at defending Cat. That's it.
Yeah.
Do we think Harper gets the start over Fox?
That's a great question.
Do we think that?
I think he would. I think he should, because he's just been playing so much better than Fox through the first 2 games. And it's not so much an offensive thing, it's a defensive thing too. Fox, he's a great shot maker, shot creator and whatnot, but his defense has been lacking ever since he was back in Sacramento. His defense has never been that kind of defense.
Right.
Whereas Harper, he's a more stout defender. He's got some more size on him. He's 6'5". So you're going to get more out of him on defense. Yeah. So and then you're not losing too much on offense. So I would say give him the start for tonight. He's been playing well. Give him the start.
And he's returning home too. Yeah. He's from New York. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I agree in terms of they should start Harper. I think they're going to start Fox for this game.
Yeah, I think so too.
Fox had 20 points.
Yeah, I think that's start the Aaron. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with you, Shane. I agree with you on that premise. I'm bringing it up because I've seen some other people bring it up, and I think it's the right question to bring up because Dylan Harper has had, I think he's been the best Spurs player overall. He's the most consistent Spurs player in the series. I think Wemby's had his moments, 100%. He's had his moments and everything like that.
But he hasn't had the same level of efficiency.
He hasn't had his efficiency that he's had before. Like game 2.
I could also, sorry to interrupt. I could also see the other side of the argument for why Fox should keep starting, because you want Harper coming off the bench. You still want that bench unit to have a punch. Like, even though Keldon Johnson is the 6th man of the year, I understand that. He set the Spurs record for scoring off the bench this season, but he hasn't been the same level of player in these playoffs, 6-man wise. So might as well keep Harper so you can have that little bit of a punch off the bench. I can understand that aspect too, but sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah. No, you're good. But my thing was with having Harper in the start lineup, I think that they would hope that it would create a spark. That's where I'm at with it. I think if they creates a spark and they get the result, I mean that's the key. That would be one of the adjustments I would make if I were Mitch Johnson. Another one of the adjustments is like y'all were saying with Wembanyama, like randomly taking off, like not guarding Cat and creating the mismatches. Need to stop doing that. Now, I get if you have him in a help spot, kind of a thing. If he's in like a help kind of a spot with that mismatch and he can get the Cat, force the double team, force him to kick out. But you have to have your rotations better with the Knicks.
Exactly.
And because they can shoot the lights out.
Yeah.
Now, if you have those rotations, I would still have Wemby like maybe playing off a little bit off Cat and coming over on a miss if they decide to go with a mismatch, coming over trapping or coming over get the help block if Cat decides to shoot, kind of a situation. I would still do that because Cat, that's the thing about Cat. Cat sometimes likes to look if it's a mismatch, he likes to look for his own situation.
Yeah.
I think that's what they were trying to do with the idea. Now, I would do it less, obviously because it hasn't been working. But I think
they were doing something similar that the Lakers did in 2023 against the Nuggets in the Western Conference Finals, where they would be like, okay, we're going to put Rui on Jokic, but then we're going to have AD in the help position. I can understand that sort of sense. Obviously, that one didn't work, and this one hasn't worked so far either. So I think they just need to switch it. Just switch it back to man on man.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that. My thing is, I was going to lead into that too. I think the Thunder would have implemented the same strategy if they made it with Caruso or someone like that. and having
Mhm.
Chet off ball, or Hartenstein off ball. Which it would have been an interesting series at the Thunder. Now thinking about it, if the Thunder would have won that series in Game 7, we would have had Hartenstein going back to New York. It would have been crazy. And it'd been a crazy situation. But yeah, I think my other thing too that I want to bring on for Game 3 is I think Steph Castle's been good in this series, but he hasn't been the Steph Castle they've needed in this series. Does that? I mean, I know Jacob. You said he's a superstar, going to be a superstar. I've said he's going to be a superstar.
Yeah.
So I don't think our answer is going to change. We still think he's
No, he's still. This is just his second year, so he's shown so much potential. He's already grown so much from his first year. So I just feel like he'll grow even more. And then on that front, for the Castle front, for him, you just got to knock down jump shots.
Yeah,
just got to knock down jump shots. You got to stretch that defense out, because what did he do the first 2 rounds against Minnesota, against Portland? He was a great jump shooter. Obviously, he wasn't great against the jump shooting wise against the Thunder, but he did that in other ways by driving the ball and just being a great defender. And he's done that so far in the Knicks series. But that jump shot, it really for this Knicks team, he really needs to have it to open up the floor even more on offense. Because whereas you can get away with that with the Thunder because you can attack it so many different ways. But I just feel like for this series and this team, that jump shot needs to come back.
Especially with the Knicks shooting the 3 ball like they have this playoffs. You need somebody. You need others to, not just Lindy having to think about forcing jump shots left and right. So
also,
go ahead.
Yeah. Also, real quick. Also, Castle's had a lot of work to do on defense and got in foul trouble late. In last game, which is why that actually part of the reason why Harper was on the court was because they had to rest Castle.
Yes.
Now, whether Fox and Harper should start, right? I ultimately said that I think Fox should. I think they will start him. Here's the thing: if it gets to the fourth quarter and it's a close game and Fox's shot is off, I Castle and Harper as the backcourt. Absolutely.
Yeah, that would probably. I think the closing backcourt will probably be if Fox is not on his game. I think the backcourt will be.
Well, it also depend again on foul trouble. If Castle gets into foul trouble again, obviously you'll see more Harper and Fox. But I think if foul trouble isn't an issue, I do agree that if Fox is struggling, Harper and Castle got to be the closing backcourt.
Yeah, 100%. Now the Knicks adjustments, they don't really need to make much adjustments so far because they've been
they just got to keep playing like they've been playing.
Yeah,
that's all they got to do.
Playing how they've been playing. Which leads into our final segment of the evening on this episode, the first inaugural episode of the Ellis Highlight Reel on Limitless Range Basketball Pod on the Ellis Highlight Reel version of it. Jacob brought up the point, and I think they debated this on. I think Fat Joe said this on First Take too.
Oh, they also discussed that on First Things First too.
Yeah, on First Things First.
Yeah. That's where I kind of got the idea from.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and bring it to the table. Bring it to the table, Jacob. Go ahead, say it.
Well, the discussion was whether or not this Knicks team is already an all-time great team, even let's say post-title, they get the title. Is it an all-time great team? Or even if, they come up short, is it an all-time great team? I kind of want to get your guys' sense. Shane, I'll go with you first. Knicks, if they win the title, are they all-time great team? Or would you say they're already kind of like an all-time great team because of this playoff run?
Okay. I think they're a great team. I do not think if they win the title that they're an all-time great team.
So if they win the title, they're not an all-time great team.
If they win the title, I'm giving them the title. I'm thinking maybe if they sweep the Spurs, boy, does that change. But my thing is, it depends on how, because so my three top greatest teams of all time and it's not going to be a mystery as to why I think this is the 2017 Warriors,
Yep.
the 96 Bulls, and the 86 Celtics.
Yep.
Yeah.
Those are the yep.
Do the Knicks enter that discussion if they get this chip? I think they got more work to do.
Yeah.
And we have to see. Like, I think that, I mean, they have. Is it too early to say Brunson's a future Hall of Famer? I might toss him in there, but while that's the question, then it's like you got cake. I think OG Anunoby's a rising star, but I don't know if he's getting there.
I don't know about rising star. He's been in the league
just,
for 8+ years. He's been
Anunoby's been in the league for a long time. Yeah.
I keep forgetting because I feel like he hasn't had the production.
He was part of the 2019 Raptors team that won the title.
Yeah, he was a bench player on that Raptors team.
He's on that. Everyone who's on that team. Marcus Saul was on that team.
Yeah, Marcus Saul. Yeah,
was on that team.
He was one of the deep bench players that didn't get much playing time.
So I think that I think the thing about old great team, it's like you kind of need 3 Hall of Famers, and the teams I gave you, Steph, Clay, Durant. There you go. Obviously Jordan, Pippen, Rodman. There you go. So I don't feel like there's
the 86 Celtics had 5 or 6. So
and then because Bill Walton was on the bench. So there you go. So I feel like, I'm giving you 3, and I don't know if the Knicks, if for that to happen, we'd have to wait 5 years, see if the Knicks go on a run, and see if either Anunoby takes that 3rd slot, or we get a Mikal Bridges that is super consistent. But basically, what I'm thinking is that if you're going into greatest, are you the all great team? I'm not tossing that lightly. You have to be at least pushing that, or at least pushing 2000 Lakers, early 2000 Spurs level to be before we start throwing that term. That being said, they have a great team, and they're one of the best teams we have seen in maybe the decade. I'll give them that. Congratulations, but all-time great. It's come on, we.
Recency bias is a strong
drug. I'll say drug because this is my channel. So anyway, it's my channel. I'll say drug, and I think the guys that brought up this topic should be on drugs, both first and first things first, because it is crazy. They need to be drug tested. They're not an all-time great team. They're not. They're really not. They have one of the all-time playoff runs. I'll give them that side of it. The run has been great. I think that is what we're going to look at more and foremost when we look back on if they win the title. We look at the 25-26 New York Knicks. The playoff run itself was all-time great. And the performance in the playoffs was all-time great. But the team itself, when you look at the struggles they had in the regular season at times, come on. When I think of all-time great teams, I think of teams that go don't have these regular season problems.
That too.
Yeah.
When Shane brought up the three quintessential all-time great teams. The year after 73-9 with Durant, that first year for the Warriors. The 72-10 Bulls, that's obvious. That's obvious why they're an all-time great team, and probably my all-time greatest team is the 72-10 Bulls. Because it would have been the 2015-16 Warriors if they didn't blow the 3-1 lead to LeBron. And everything like that. And in the Cavs. If they didn't blow that, I think it would have shifted to that because the dominance of the regular season finished it with the title. There's that. I also throw these in the 86 Celtics. That's another one. I'll throw this in there too. a couple of the other Bulls teams I would have ahead of the Knicks, the 90s Bulls, like the repeats teams. Like when you look at the 93 team, the 93 team was a really great team. Look at the 98 Bulls, find the last stance. And everything like that. You look at that. You look at them. You look at the three-peat Lakers. All 3 of those years, all time. Those three-peat Lakers, the Spurs of the 2000s, all-time great team, all time. You can look at specifically 99. You can look at 02, 03. You look at that with Robinson and Duncan. 07, I liked 07 when they swept LeBron the first time LeBron made it. That's another all-time great team because they had the Duncan, Ginobili, Parker in their prime and everything like that. Also, too, when you look at the series they won against the Pistons in the middle of the decade, where the Pistons were going back to back with the Horry shot. When Robert Horry, and you had Robert Horry on that team, so that's an all-timer. Then you got when you look at the Heatles. Now they failed the first year because Dirk all-time. That's an all-time great playoff run for Dirk Nowitzki and the Mavericks, but they're not an all-time great champion to me because they had their ups and downs a little bit in the regular season as well. Wade in 06, and Shaq, they had some of their struggles, and then you look at the next year. So that's where I'm coming from with this, and I don't think any of the teams in the 2020s so far have had a claim to all-time great yet because of the parity that we haven't had a repeat champion since those 17.
We haven't even had a champion that's gotten back to the finals. So
exactly.
We haven't even gotten that. So.
And so that's where we're it's weird with all-time great and throwing around that term with this Knicks team.
I think I'll play a little bit of devil's advocate and say I think they are, if they win the title, I think they are an all-time great team. Now, I don't think, obviously we've said a lot of great all-time great teams here. So I don't think they'd be in the same tier as a lot of those teams. The majority of those teams, I don't think they'd be anywhere near them. But I do think here's how I would look at it. Obviously, if I'm looking at it, I'm going to look at, a little bit of the future where, let's say they win the title next year. Like they win this year and they win next year. They repeat. I would look at the situation like this. The 2001 Lakers team is an objectively a more all-time great team than the 2000 Lakers team because they went back-to-back. They had just won 2 straight. So, obviously, the one that just won the back-to-back titles on a dominant playoff run where they only lost like 2 playoff games. Obviously, that team's going to get
the only loss that Lakers team had in 01 was game 1 of the finals against Iverson.
Yeah. Because AI scored like 50. So, that was the AI almost scored 50 game. And then in that sort of sense, I think this run all-time great because the streak and all the dominance behind it. But I just think they're an all-time great team. Obviously, lower tiered on the lower tier. Obviously, if they win next year, let's say they come back next year, they win 60 games, first overall seed, they dominate all the way through the playoffs, they win again. Obviously, that Knicks team goes a lot higher than this Knicks team. So I was just sort of give it a sense of like the tiers and how different teams look all-time great wise. I do think they are an all-time great team because of what they've done, and obviously the roster has been great. We don't know if Brunson will be in the Hall of Fame. We don't know. Cat will probably be in the Hall of Fame.
If Cat and Windhorse had the quote of the morning on Get Up, and Cat does what he's been doing for 2 more games, he said. I think he said, like, if he keeps on going at Wemby's ass, I think he actually cursed on TV, which is crazy. But anyway, if he keeps on doing what he's been doing, and everything like that, he'll be in Hall of Fame for sure for Cat. I think Brunson will be. I think Brunson could be a Hall of Fame point guard, but that's the thing. It's a lot of with the Basketball Hall of Fame, a lot of people, especially point guards, get in, and stuff like that. So I think
he's still got a lot of long career ahead of him. Cat, he's in his 30s now. I think he's 30, 31. So he's got a lot less tread on the tires. So but he's also got a lot more prolific of a career, all-star selections, things of that nature. So but Brunson, he's still got a lot of time left.
I'm curious so when you got it from First Things First, because I know it's like the Knicks love on First Take with Stephen A. All that. Yeah, it was all, most of it was Knicks love, and granted, I kind of expected that when Stephen A. and brought on Fat Joe, like Wilbon. Wilbon is a Bulls guy first and foremost, but he plays the Knicks sometimes.
Yeah.
So anyway, what did the guys on First Things First say? Was it Nick Wright that brought this topic up, or was it Broussard?
I think it might have been Brew. I think it might have been Brew that brought it up, or something like that.
Well, that makes sense.
I don't know specifically. I just saw clips. I don't know if the topic was something that was shoehorned in, like just because, like, hey, we're on this topic, might as well talk about it, or something like that. I don't know if it was a set topic. So it's more like, I just thought it was a fun little topic because it's just like, this Knicks team has been so dominant and they've rattled off all these wins. So we're just like, okay, if they win the title, where are they all time wise? So
I mean, that's the thing. It's interesting to bring up. And Shane, I'll go to you after I finish the point.
Yeah,
it's interesting to bring up that topic because, like, at the same, like, we brought it up with the Thunder last year too. In all honesty, as well.
Yeah.
Right. We brought it up with, like, oh, the Thunder are the youngest team to win the title since those Trailblazers in the late 70s.
Yeah.
And they have the potential to go back to back. But we just saw what happened to the Thunder team if they don't have all their pieces ready. Even though they were one of the best teams all year, they couldn't get over the injury bug, and they fell to the Spurs in 7. And then we had the whole Chet discussion on last pod, which it's on the Ellis reel now if you want to see the thoughts on Chet Holmgren, and everything like that. But at the same time, like, that's why I don't like when they go into, before they win the title, they go into these all-time debates, because and I don't like the fact that if they go into winning the title, if they actually do win the title, which I might think they win in 5 now if the Spurs don't turn around.
Yeah.
But if they don't win the title, if they win the title, why are we putting in a team that was the 3rd seed in the East, and a lot of people thought we're not going to win against Boston in the first round? Like,
in the second round.
When they
would meet up in that bracket,
Yeah. So I mean, that's the thing. And I think they got the benefit of the Sixers actually pulling off that upset a little bit.
Yeah.
And that I think they got the benefit of that doubt, and that's why they got the sweep there. And like I said before too, they got the benefit of playing Cleveland, like, with James Harden as like a key piece of that team, key cog of that team.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to diminish the run because they've been phenomenal for the Knicks. And it would be even more phenomenal if they end up winning the title.
Yeah. Especially being the Spurs team. Yeah.
It's being this Spurs team that is going to be there for years to come.
Yeah.
And everything like that. And my thing is that really solidifies it. But let's not get our head of ourselves all-time great. Like I said earlier, all-time great playoff run, but not all-time great team until the Knicks were really consistently staying in the title behind.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling this Knicks team is going to be, if they don't make a move this summer to keep it up.
Yeah.
If they win the title, I am scared for Knicks fans to think that might think they'll win the this team will win championships no matter what I mean. No, I don't think if the Spurs make the adjustments to their roster next year, that I think they
Yeah.
will if they lose this series and make sure Wemby gets.
Well, the Spurs don't even really need to make an adjustment on their roster.
No, I mean I don't think so, but maybe
all they'll have is experience under their belt, and that's it. You know,
if they move off Fox, maybe.
Maybe, but they just signed him to a huge extension. I don't think they're going to move him.
Right.
So
so it's just
I don't see that happening.
Yeah, I don't either. But you never know with the NBA nowadays. And
maybe somebody takes a flyer on him. Maybe they trade him back to Sacramento. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? But if somebody makes a move for Giannis, because that's the key piece, we'll talk about the Giannis stuff in the next couple episodes here.
Yeah.
Because that's an interesting dynamic. But Shane, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. So after you're kind of leading into the question that I wanted to ask Jacob and you as well, but like because when you were playing devil's advocate, right? You said, Jacob, like if they win the next championship, and they get some momentum behind them, then they might really move up the discussion. Okay, so here's my question: to be considered an all-time great team, do you need more than one chip? Yes or no?
It's a great question. I'm trying to think of teams that won one title and that they were an all-time great team. I would say like not necessarily, because I just feel like if you're dominant on the way to a championship, and obviously, but if you want to be like obviously elevate yourself in the tiers, like because the 2000 Lakers team, like during the time, was just like, yeah, that's a great team. That's an all-time great team.
Yeah.
Because, and things like that. But then, when they started rattling off more championships, it kind of elevated that 2000 team went from like being a good tiered one to like a legendarily tiered one. Obviously 2001 is even more above that one.
Yeah.
So I just feel like I feel like it's not necessary, but I do feel like it elevates, your status, especially like say if you win this like your first championship team compared to your second championship team, the first championship team gets kind of a boost.
Also, the one that could make that argument, Shane, of one championship, one ring team being a close to an all-time team is the 08 Celtics, in my mind, because they won just that one. Don't forget,
I was thinking also the 71 Milwaukee Bucks with Kareem.
That was Kareem. So. That is another one too, an oldie but goodie in that situation. But the more modern audience here, the 08 Celtics is the perfect example of the one chip, three great talents, and a young Rondo who was phenomenal in that, in the 08 playoffs. And the weird thing with the 08 Celtics team is they lost to Orlando in the second round when Orlando made it. And, the first of Kobe's back-to-back with Paul and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Then the Celtics make it back to the finals in 2010.
Yeah.
To set up the rematch with the Lakers, And the weird thing with that series was when you look back into the 2010 finals, it was the underperformance. Like Ray Allen had his best finals. Not really like he had the 08 good. He had great finals in 08. He obviously won the championship in 13. He was the key reason why the Heat won that championship. Because if he doesn't make that shot, the Spurs have 6 titles right now, instead of 5. But and my thing with the 2010 finals, Ray Allen was one of the had a key great performance, but Rondo struggled in the 2010 finals. When you really look into you go back into looking at the 2010 finals, is Rondo struggled. I think Garnett had some injuries in that. He had injuries in 09. That's why they lost. They had to the 09 playoffs, and that's why they lost. And he was able to get back. But the combination of him or she didn't work out with the stopping the Gasol and Odom and all that talent that the Lakers had by that point. And the fact of the matter is, too, when you look at 08, that is an all-time great Celtics team. In my opinion, one of the all-time Celtics teams. Not one of the top Celtics teams. And I can make the argument, to be honest with you, Shane. I don't know how you feel about this as a Celtics guy. The 2024 Celtics team might have eclipsed the 08 Celtics a little bit as one-time Boston Celtics champs. Here's why. Here's my thought process on that. The way he handled Luka, everyone heading into that series was like, "Oh, this is going to be the coronation of Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving. That duo is going to." And Kyrie gets his revenge on Boston.
Yeah.
Boston handled the Mavericks thoroughly in that series. It was, complete demolition. The Celtics in 08 had a couple great games, but I think if certain things didn't go their way in 08, I think the Lakers would have won 3 straight. With that, So that's where
I would disagree with you for that, for the fact of from a roster construction, because I just think obviously the big 3 in Boston with Allen here and KG, I just think it's just so much more iconic. I think that's
it
why,
is iconic, more iconic than Tatum.
And maybe for the Celtics in terms of their dominance in the 2024 playoff run, they were just a dominant and obviously a great defensive team because you had Derek White, Drew Holiday, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Porzingis, Horford. I mean, it was a great roster construction, but I think from name recognition, I think the 08 Celtics are just the better team.
Yeah,
from that sort of sense.
Yeah, I was playing devil's advocate.
And then you had Rondo too in there, and he's going to be one of those guys that goes into the Hall of Fame one day. So, and then I wanted to add one more team into the mix since we're talking about all-time great teams that have only one title. Yeah, it was on my brain, and I remembered, and I wanted to get the year right, so I Googled it real quick. 83 Sixers. With Malone.
Yeah, I like that call because Moses Malone, Julius Irving. Yep, I love that call.
Yeah, that's an all-time great team. But they only won one championship. Obviously, they went to the finals before, but Moses didn't join the team until that second run, second finals. That's when they won the title. So
I love that shout. I love that shout of the 83 Sixers because that team was top down one of the best teams ever. Go ahead, Sean.
Now,
sorry.
Hold up. Just in terms of my point, my overall point. Also, not make it like I want to say the year after or the year before, but they lost to Magic and Kareem. Did the Sixers have multiple appearances?
Yeah, so they made it to the 80-81 finals, like Jacob said.
Yeah, it was the first Showtime Lakers finals. Is who they played against. Yeah, it was the
because I'm just thinking you guys did a really good job thinking of teams that were one and done and are considered all time great. Absolutely, that team with Dr. J and Moses Malone. But if you're gonna. It helps if you compete in a future one. You don't necessarily have to win it, but if you get to the stage against year, so that counts when you're talking about the 08 Celtics because you're right that they could have gone in 09, but KG got hurt.
Yeah,
Dwight Howard makes it, and then they came back in 2010. In terms of whether they're how they compare to the 2024 Celtics, it's very interesting to compare, I think, because that Celtics team, it seemed like they were made to get that one, and then obviously we couldn't pay everyone, so we had to let Porzingis and Horford and Holiday go.
Yeah. They were still a great team the year after the 2024 Celtics. I mean, they were still a great team the next season, but obviously, you saw how that Knicks series went. They were still a top 3 team. It was just more so, obviously, and then the Tatum injury kind of compacted things. But even then, it's just like you said, it was that team was made to win that championship that year.
Yeah. Exactly, it was made for that championship.
But exactly. So but the thing is, if you compare that to 08, because the thing is that nucleus was built and then it stayed there for a while.
Yeah.
So like the big three, and then good on you for throwing Rondo in there because he was a big part of that.
Yeah.
I'd just like to also say that, in case everyone forgot, Kendrick Perkins is on that was also on that team, and he, I think it's funny that he arguably has more notoriety now that he's a first take member than he was. But I remember young K Perk, helping KG to defend the front court back in the day. But that team, I think, had a lot of staying power. It's like because of them together, and also the fact that they did compete those years after. I mean,
go to more Eastern Conference Finals, be one of the top teams in the league. Go to another finals. They were just so consistent for that 4-year stretch even like a 5-year stretch from 2007 to 2012. They were just so consistently good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You hit the nail. So it took some mega teams to beat that Celtics team. One of those mega teams was the 2010 Lakers, and I remember driving by Boston, and you'd see people selling like the BLA shirts, and it definitely felt weird to me because I'm like, Kobe Bryant's one of my favorite players, but for the next 7 games, I'm not down with Kobe Bryant. Kobe gets injured, whatever. But part of the reason why I think he is one of the greatest of all time, he came back and he got his look back against the Celtics.
Yeah.
And then, if you look at what happens after, they had a couple of years where they were still strong. Unfortunately, they ran into the Heatles with LeBron, Boston Wade.
Yeah, the big three got older, and then you had a young one and the Heat come up.
Yeah. And I would just say, from the Boston guys' perspective, some of the best basketball I've seen in my life were the Big Three Celtics versus the Eagles.
Yeah.
Those playoff series were highly entertaining, and they all went either 6 or 7 games.
Yeah. I
was really frustrated. I mean, I know we're talking, like, a lot of people talk about, like, afterwards trading away Pierce and KG to the Nets. That obviously led us to get Tatum, so in retrospect, that trade
and Brown too. Like, let them go, both of them.
Exactly. But I was infuriated when we let Allen go to the Heat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, we're giving them, we lost to them, we lose to them 3 years in a row, and then we give them,
But the thing was the beef with Allen and Rondo. The beef with Allen and Rondo kind of, blew up that situation. So
exactly. So I think that's, in terms of like the blueprint for basically being a one and done team. If you're gonna get into that upper echelon, I think you have to compete, further on, which is what that Celtics team did. And if you're losing, you're probably losing to some contenders in their own right. And obviously that the Lakers team and then that Heat team.
The Heatles team,
and I feel like it's just good to point out because people, it actually connects to, how a lot of people think that the West was generally better than the East, which I agree with in years past. But part of the reason why people say that is because look at how LeBron represented the East for so many years. I think it was 8 straight, which is true. But if you look at those, the road to get to the finals, I don't think he had a tougher run than what it was getting past the Big Three in Boston.
Yeah.
I
But
agree with that. Another one we have to mention is the 04 Pistons. We have to mention the 04 Pistons.
Yeah.
Go back,
Yeah. Well, the thing about the Pistons, though, during that time, they went to like 6 or 7 straight Eastern Conference Finals, and obviously after they beat the Lakers, got back to the finals, went to 7 with San Antonio and lost. So just wanted to put that.
Yeah, that's another good team with the Pistons. Like that's a one-time finals win team that fits the description. Of that
but then they just had they had a really good stretch where they were just a really great team.
Yeah. But also, and I'm not saying we do this right now, but like, let's say we had an episode where we named one of the old-time great teams, and we went boom, boom, boom. So we do Bulls, that Warriors team, the Celtics. We go down.
Yeah.
We'll have our differences of opinion, but I feel like we get like generally the same sort of stuff as we mentioned, like the great old-time teams.
Yeah.
How long is it before we get to 2004 Detroit Pistons, Rip Hamilton and Ben Wallace? How long?
That's a great question. Probably in the middle tiers. I would put them in like a middle tier.
They're a middle tier.
Just because like the team they had to beat was really great, and then at the same time, obviously they from that point on they were still a great team. They went to 6 or 7 straight Eastern Conference Finals, got back to the finals.
Right.
So
yeah,
I think
the thing of it is too, when you look at it, Shane, they beat that team in 2004, the Lakers team, and I'll say this, and we'll start wrapping it up because it's almost game time. And I'll say this before we go. The thing of it is too, that Lakers team was so volatile because of the dynamic of Kobe and Shaq. It really was that volatile because of those two's relationship, kind of on the downward.
Really well, that finals was really lost by Kobe because he really wanted to be the man. He really wanted to show that he was the man, and I think he really shot them out of that series.
Exactly, he shot them out of the series, and also think about it too. Karl Malone was old, and then Gary Payton was like close.
Well, don't forget Malone got hurt too. So I think if Malone had been healthy, maybe it would have been a closer series, and maybe the Lakers pull it off. But it just wasn't meant to be with that.
Yeah, not with that foursome, and the Lakers really wanted to go for it after the Spurs stopped. Them.
Stop the 4-peat.
Yeah. So that's the thing. So it's just crazy to think about the mid 2000s in this, because that's mostly when we were growing up, was the mid 2000s.
Yeah.
But the fact that Jacob pulled out the Kareem 71 team and the 86 Sixers team, like,
hey man, I got a decent amount of basketball history embedded in his brain.
Close to
so
thinking
I
about
know.
83 Sixers. I was close to thinking about 83 Sixers. But the thing is,
hold on, what were you gonna say?
So just real quick, I love that you brought up that 71 Bucks team, because that is one of my favorite 2K teams.
Some of it's 2K, and some of it's just like I just research stuff. I read a lot of things about basketball history. I don't know what it is, mostly because I have a degree in history, so that probably plays a factor.
That helps a lot. Yeah, it helps a lot.
Yeah.
With me, I was thinking about the 83 team. The only reason I didn't think about them because they won one. But I think their impact kind of drops because of the situation after. Was all the rest of the 80s was Lakers Celtics for 4 straight years.
Yeah.
And then it was
the Pistons at the end.
It was the bad boy Pistons.
Yeah.
You don't think about those early 80s Sixers teams as much.
Yeah.
As you look through the decade itself, you don't think about it. For me, it's like I think about the 80s. I think about the late 80s with the Lakers and Celtics, and then it's going to be the Lakers and Pistons, like the bad boy Pistons, the 2 bad boy Pistons to round out the decade. And then you get to the 90s with the Bulls. And I hate doing that to that 83 Sixers team, because that 83 Sixers team was so dominant. It really was. But
I just think it's such a perfect example because it's smack dab right in the middle of the 80s, where the Celtics and Lakers, and then obviously the Pistons at the end were just such a dominant team, and you're just like, and then the Sixers won one. So
So with that being said, I think we gotta wrap it up. Game 3 is about to start. Thank y'all for joining us on YouTube and Facebook. And tonight, I'm trying to figure out the kinks of Restream and what platforms to stream on and stuff like that. I might keep it Facebook, because Facebook actually did pretty well. So with that, so I'll do YouTube, Facebook, and maybe TikTok. When I get the pro membership and stuff like that, and actually get the approval to do TikTok live stream. But yeah. I appreciate my boys from Total Apex Sports joining me. Like I said the last couple of times with Chris last night. These guys are still with the company, and I'm still going to support them as long as they're with the company and support the company. I hope Total Apex Media does well. And even though I'm not with the company anymore, I still want to showcase my guys that I built relationships with there, because that company has given me the ropes of how to do this in a sensible sensible reason than I had before. I actually know how to kind of do some of this stuff now, so I do appreciate Matt and Dusty, the CEOs and everything like that. So with that being said, Jacob, where can the people find you?
Well, you can find me obviously on totalapexsports.com. You could just type in my name in Google, and my name is literally the first search result is totalapexsports.com. You can go to my profile. You'll see all my articles on there that I've written, past, present, things like that. You can find me there. You can find me on Muckrack. You can find me on Instagram at jdperrine24.
Yep.
So just check out my stuff. I try to write as often as I can.
Shane, where can the people find you, my man?
You can find me at Instagram, just like it's written there, 2 Shanes. You can find me that way on X, formerly known as Twitter. I also am still writing for Total Apex, looking to get DFS stuff for you while we milk as much of this NBA season that's left. I was just going to say this earlier, and I'm not bringing this up to myself. I'm bringing this up just because, especially in the DFS and in the betting space in general.
There are
a lot of voices who talk, but they don't necessarily show their results, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I've lost plenty of DFS matches this season. Okay? But on game 2, I was able to make 6 out of a tournament of almost 3K people.
Nice.
So
that's how
I just bring that up so that way when I'm giving you DFS picks, it's not like I'm not making those picks myself. I'm not giving you just random names that just like do whatever. Like I am giving you people that I think are gonna go win and go win you a GPP that's gonna get you some money.
Yeah, so, exactly. Yeah. Love. That's why I have the segment.
You're not trying to intentionally sabotage, so that way you feel
better. Exactly. Thing that happens in betting, and it's gross, but that's another episode.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that another time. But that being said, this has been a great stream on the first Ellis Highlight Reel Limitless Range basketball pod. First stream on there, everything like that. I am your host, Brandon Ellis, and I will see you next Monday, every Monday, around 7 o'clock. Tonight was a little later for me because I worked later than normal, and everything like that. So it was a little tight getting into the house and eating dinner and everything like that. So I think next week should be around 7. Right around 7, we'll start the stream, and we'll go with that. And with that being said, keep an eye out for some shorts and stuff like that on the YouTube channel, on TikTok at Ellis Highlight Reel. Keep an eye out for my blog at ellishighlightreel.wordpress.com. I'll actually have some stuff in the next couple of days on there, really getting that content kind of pumping out as well. But yeah, with that being said, everybody, thank y'all for tuning in, and peace out.
Take care, guys.